Hello there people, my name is Eponymous and I just finished watching House of the Dragon. I wouldn't say it is as good as the early seasons of Game of Thrones, but still very good in its own right. Though I do think they have a little bit more work to do to win back the people who were let down from season 8. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you didn't know or see my initial thoughts video, House of the Dragon is based on the Targaryen civil war called the Dance of the Dragons. There's a book about it called Fire and Blood. It's fully completed, so there won't be a Game of Thrones situation happening later on. So the show follows or initially builds two factions, the Blacks headed by Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, and the Greens which is led by King Aegon II. And I've got to say, if you're not on Team Black, you're just messed up. They do write the Greens as the proper villains of the show. It's not very grey, it's very black and white with them, which is almost an aspect that I didn't like because I like having that moral conflict of whose side I should be rooting for. But because they're well written in my opinion, I don't mind having such distinctions between them. The show also just looks fantastic. I think the dragons look great. I like how they give each dragon its own unique design, because the three dragons in Game of Thrones look the same but with different colours. Like Vhagar and Caraxes look so cool, with Vhagar looking like a weathered old lizard with that weird dangly thing underneath his chin, or her chin, and Caraxes looks very snake or serpent-like. The locations look really good too. We didn't go much outside of Dragonstone, Driftmark and King's Landing, but what we did see was up to expectations in my opinion. It was really intriguing going into the dragon pit because that's where most of the dragons are, obviously, but also because it's blown up by the time Game of Thrones happens and full of lore that we haven't seen before. One thing I am excited about is that I am pretty sure we're going to Winterfell and seeing the Starks next season, as that is an unresolved plotline that should continue in the following seasons. The cast in this show is just fucking awesome. Some people were slightly concerned with the recast of Rhaenyra and Alicent 5 episodes in, but Emma D'Arcy and Sophie Cook were just fantastic. They really made the characters their own in half the time. Paddy Considine I think was a standout for me. He was just on another level, and seeing him so weak and emotional while still being king and authoritative was just must-watch TV. It wouldn't surprise me if there were a lot of Emmy nominations from this season. Matt Smith I think was really good, though I still do see Matt Smith and not Daemon Targaryen. He does play a very morally grey character very well. Like, he does care for his family, but he murdered his first wife because he didn't find her attractive. And I do hope we see more of his shady side next season. Now, out of the Greens, I think Aemond is probably my favourite. I can't remember the name of the actor, but he is so good at coming across as a proper dick, but someone who is actually competent at their job. Especially compared to his older brother Aegon, who is a proper degenerate. Degenerate is putting it nicely, as it's insinuated he is a pedo, and let's just say he is someone that doesn't believe in consent. But the actor who plays Aegon was fine. He doesn't have any major moments, but I do imagine he will next season. In terms of the plot as a whole, it was a slow burner, much like the original series to be honest. It feels like a lot of groundwork and world building were being set, so we get attached to the characters, with the final episode starting the war. So if you wanted to wait with the show until season 2 came out to give it a try, I wouldn't blame you, especially if you were burnt from the finale of Game of Thrones. But overall, I would recommend that you go watch it. The main nitpick I had was that some of the lighting was a bit too dark in some scenes, which were annoying. I think it would be a few years until the next season comes out, so if you wanted to take your time with it, then you have plenty of time. Basically, what I'm saying is, just go watch it. I think there's very little wrong with it and doesn't move away from the books too much, but when it does change, it's a welcome one and enough to keep you on your toes. Now that I mentioned toes, I almost forgot, but I do find it funny that they give the guy with clubfoot a foot fetish. It's so wrong, but I can't help but laugh. So yeah, if I had to give it a rating, it would be a 9 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish, and I think you would too. If you like my review, please leave a like and subscribe, that would greatly be appreciated, and I shall see you next time, and peace.